So what made you decide to do this particular topic? What drew you to the Macedonian countryside in particular for this film?
You first. Okay, it is not our first film together, it's our second. Before this one, we produced another shorter documentary, very different from this one. And finishing that film, we were working on a wider nature conservation project and producing some videos, and we was with an idea to produce a short documentary for the region. And while exploring that area, which is I must say, which is a very large area, some 70 kilometers in length. It is abandoned some 60 years ago, completely abandoned. And there are several ruined villages like this. And while exploring there, we spotted those holes in the rocks, and we were wondering, what is this? And after a short period, we start to ask who is making these holes for the bees, and we actually first find one of Hatidze's brothers, who lives in one of the closest villages to this area, closest populated villages. First we found him, and then we found Hatidze in her village.
So about the approach, it's something that took us maybe 3 to 6 months of research until we found this particular approach. At the beginning, it was just Hatidze that we started shooting before the other family showed up, and we didn't know exactly how this film will take approach and format. Will it be with narration? Will it be her narration, somebody else's narration? Will it be interviews? We just tried to participate in her life and observe as much as possible, get as much possible information.
Visual information.
Yes, of course, visual and verbal from this woman, of course, to get to know her life. And when the other family showed up, when we realized the conflict, the natural conflict they have between their bee families, we realized that this film has a huge potential to have strong narrative dramaturgy without any other tools, let's say, yes, like narration, like explanation. So it came naturally in the process of making. And this is something that only the author, while making its film, can realize at one point, okay, this is the right approach for this film, and just you know it. So we knew it after 6 months, basically.
And how is this project different from the past film that you had done? What would you say is unique or different about Honeyland?
Ooh.
Everything.
Both of us will answer this.
Everything.
It's a personal.
It's the best question. We never got this question before.
We came from different backgrounds. She has a film school. I don't have a school. I'm working with nature conservation and human development project almost more than 20 years. And okay, I'm talking about me now. My previous projects and previous documentaries were, all of them are related to nature conservation issues, and in a smaller part in human development issues. All of my previous projects are with narration. This is the first one, which is just we spent a lot of time producing this film. First filming, then editing. It's almost 4 years. And during the period we both learned a lot and changed ourselves a lot. That's enough for me.
The main difference between the two films, obviously, is the approach most. The first film also was pretty successful, but it was more like it had different tools. It had narration for the beginning. It also, because this was about this film about the lake, it had some.
You're talking about
The first film,
first
yeah.
Previous,
The first film
previous
we made
film
together.
made together.
Yes. So we had to explain many natural processes in this film. Like I wouldn't get into details, but this was something that was looking for a creative way of showing. So we used also stop animation to show how the natural process were happening in this area, like the water, the pollution of the water and the rest. So it is a lot more colorful and more like a collage kind of film, let's say. And for the first time we tried working with characters, with protagonists, to actually take them from real environment and not use their voice or interviews, but just observe them, of course. But just the film is completely different from this one. It's more of a fairy tale type of documentary, I would say, in a way. And this film is something that for both of us was the biggest challenge, just to do it plain without any use of anything extra, and to just to involve a lot more time of observation, because 3 years is not like a small period of time.
And 100 filming days, we produce around 400 hours of material.
Yeah. So patience is the main difference, I would say, from anything else we've ever done before. There's a very, very good thing about the combination of both of us working as authors, as directors, because I come from a film school background and I have some approach like in fiction film, like with how to work with characters, how to build the dramaturgy of the story. And always we were kind of filling the gaps of each other. So he was always like a lot involved with the environmental issue, with how these things will be shown visually. And I was more concerned in a way of how the characters will find their way in the film, how the dramaturgy will get fixed. So this is one very, very good combination to work, and that I recommend highly for filmmakers, especially documentaries, because it's not a common thing to do authorship of a film together with someone. But if you try to do so, if you find a way, this is, I believe it's very, very helpful, and it can create something beautiful, because two minds fill different gaps of a process, of course.
So these days we hear a lot about how human activities bring about climate change and intrude on the natural environment. What, in your opinion, would be the effect on biodiversity should things continue as they have?
May I? Because I'm very much into environment issues, I would like to explain that more in details. Actually, this film is not about biodiversity. It's not about the bees. It's not about the climate change. The environmental issue we're talking about, it's actually overusing of natural resources. And Hatidze's point, take half and leave half for the bees, is actually one of the United Nations Millennium Goals, which is equal share of benefits. Equal share of benefits between user, which are humans, and provider, which is nature or part of the nature, in this case, bees. All of that in order to ensure food security for tomorrow, for humans and for the provider, for the bees. That's very simple, and this film is. There are many layers in the film. It is a human, real-life story, right? We have birth, we have real dead there, social story, but environmental point in the film is overusing of natural resources. No matter it is honey or fish or wood.
It's the approach towards nature, basically. If you take everything, you have nothing for yourself also. The first time we went to the village in winter, because this was also a decision, if we would shoot in the winter or not, because the village is unapproachable. And we decided we must see what's happening there during the winter. So we went there, and the first time we got completely stuck in the snow, in like the branch entered in the car wheel. We have this on a video, we recorded. And these people came from the village. They were at that time there, the other family, everyone was there. And they came with shovels and with food, what they had to bring to us, to save us, to come to them. So this was a very nice situation. And from this kind of events, actually, we came to the idea to like share with them, like, you know, so the idea came a lot earlier, before we even knew where we are going with the film, just to promote her, you know, like existence there.
So what do they think about having these filmmakers come into their life and filming? Are they open to it? Do they have any resistance?
Hatidze was open from the first moment. And
The first thing she said when I met her, she told me this was my biggest dream, that journalists would shoot me while I was climbing on the hills, because she's a natural born star. I mean, this is something, it's a miracle. It's incredible, really. Like, we have to say this event from the premiere. After the premiere, there was this party, and she came on the stage, took the phone from the band, and made a show, and people were enjoying. She was singing these traditional songs, Macedonian, Turkish, everything, and people were loving it and dancing. And she just is like this. She's just born with this kind of star, and this is amazing. With the other people, we had more trouble. It took us over a year, maybe, that they would relax and just find fun in the process. So first, they had to accept us like a family, like locals, so then they were just free. But before, they were very wild. They would just approach from the distance, look at us and run.